If you care about real survival knowledge, the kind forged by centuries of hardship rather than weekend drills, you're in the right place. Before we get into it, I want you to subscribe to Legacy of Survival right now, because this channel exists to preserve hard-earned historical knowledge that is quietly disappearing. Medieval people didn't survive because they were lucky. They survived because they understood land, materials, food, and risk at a level most modern preppers never reach. And what you're about to hear isn't theory, entertainment, or romantic history. These are techniques tested by famine, siege, plague, and isolation. If you stay with me for the next few minutes, you'll walk away with practical methods you can still apply today, whether you live rural, suburban, or off-grid. Most modern survival advice assumes access to gear, resupply, and modern materials. Medieval survival assumed none of that. People expected long-term disruption as a normal part of life. Harvests failed, armies passed through, trade collapsed, and yet communities endured. The techniques we're about to cover are ignored today, not because they don't work, but because they demand patience, discipline, and long-term thinking. The first forgotten technique is medieval food redundancy, built around multiple preservation methods, not just storage. Medieval households didn't rely on a single preserved food source. Meat wasn't just dried, it was salted, smoked, and sometimes cooked into potted meat sealed under fat. If one method failed, another carried the household through. A modern prepper can apply this by taking one food, like beans or meat, and preserving it in at least two different ways. So, folks, smoke and salt meat instead of just relying on freezing it alone. Ferment grains or vegetables alongside dry storage. Redundancy was honestly survival insurance, not just excess. Hawthorn, blackthorn, hazel, and bramble were chosen for a reason. Even today, a living hedge around a property offers windbreaks, concealment, berries, poles, and, well, long-term fencing without any need for metal or fuel input. Establishing one now means planting dense, thorny species and training them over several years, just as medieval farmers did. It's slow, yeah, but it lasts for generations. The third technique is seasonal starvation planning, not emergency rationing. Medieval people expected lean months every year. They didn't panic when food tightened. They adjusted diets ahead of time. They ate more broth, grains, and foraged plants, while saving preserved fats and meats for deep winter. Modern preppers often burn through their best supplies first. Applying medieval thinking means planning your food calendar, not just your stockpile. The fourth technique is passive water security through landscape shaping. Medieval villages controlled water without pumps or plastic. Shallow ditches, ponds, clay-lined basins, and gravity-fed channels captured rain and runoff. These systems required no maintenance beyond clearing debris. Today, even if you just have a small bit of land, you can direct roof runoff into shallow swales or ponds that recharge the soil and provide emergency water. The principle is simple. Let gravity and earth do the work. Medieval survival relied on systems that functioned even when no one was watching. The fifth technique is fuel discipline and heat efficiency, not fuel hoarding. Medieval homes burned less wood than most modern fireplaces because they designed for heat retention. The sixth technique is medicinal self-reliance grounded in common plants, not rare remedies. Medieval healers focused on what grew everywhere: yarrow for wounds, garlic for infection, willow for pain, and honey for preservation and healing. These techniques aren't romantic ideas from the past. They are systems refined under pressure and neglect-resistant by necessity. Medieval people survived without electricity, engines, or global supply chains, not because they were primitive, but because they understood limits and planned within them. If this kind of deep, practical, historical knowledge matters to you, subscribe to Legacy of Survival, share this with someone who takes preparedness seriously, and keep these techniques alive by learning and applying them. History doesn't just belong in books. It belongs in practice.